Hi there everyone, James and Niburu London here with your weekly health and wellbeing video. So this week I want to talk about, can we be healthy without looking a certain way or a stereotypical way of what you think peak health would look like? And obviously there's going to be varying levels of like what we kind of think in our heads healthy should look like. Obviously dependent on many different things, but I think most of us will have some idea in our head of what we should look like if we're fit and healthy. If you're exercising a lot and you're eating well, and you have an idea of kind of what you want to look like. And this is different from trying to achieve a certain physique or a certain look. This is more about how we feel we should look like if we are regularly exercising, eating well, those sorts of things. And I think a lot of the time you almost lose what being healthy should be about. And obviously a lot of people will have different goals. You might want to look a certain way, you might be trying to lose weight, all these sorts of things. But you find after a while, when you've been training for quite a long time, or as you get older, I think that your priorities sometimes will change, and health doesn't necessarily mean looking a certain way. Health could mean just being fit and healthy. Now that's not, you don't have to be super fit and peak health and all this sort of thing. It's just being generally healthy across the board. And I think as time goes on, especially when you potentially have more responsibilities, family, that sort of thing, and you don't have as much time to be as dedicated or exercise as much, or be as on the food and things like that, health can look different. So health might just be getting 3 exercise sessions in a week and eating relatively clean. And I think you can still be fit and healthy without looking how what you would picture an athlete or someone like that to look like. Also, it will change over time. So when you're younger and you have more time, your idea of fit and healthy is probably going to be different to what it might be when you're a little bit older, and like I said, you might have responsibilities, job, kid, all that sort of thing. So what peak health looks like should kind of vary and change with that. I think it's unfair for us to put the pressure on ourselves to keep that same image and expect that we're going to look a certain way if we haven't got the ability or time to exercise as much as we previously might have. And I think that's important because that helps us keep realistic expectations and stops you from becoming kind of down and a little bit upset and demotivated if you're not hitting potentially where you previous were, you're not looking how you previous were. Again, it doesn't mean you're not fit and healthy. It just means that that idea of what fit and healthy is has to just be adjusted to your circumstances now. And again, I think most of us, if you think about what being healthy and fit is, it's very, very kind of basic. It doesn't have to be anything special. We're not looking to be ripped and have muscles and all this kind of thing. Fit and healthy is a lot, I'm not going to say less, but a lot different to that. Fit and healthy is just generally being able to be relatively active, be a good weight, and be able to do things, in terms of exercise that necessarily aren't crazy, but you can maintain, a good level. And I think we've got to remember that, and I think we have to also adjust what our view of it is over time, or if circumstances change and things like that. So I hope you all enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Bye bye.